Welcome to the Forest Farming and Non-Timber Forest Products presentation for the Minnesota Master Woodland and Owner Program. My name is Gary Wyatt, Extension Educator in Forestry and with the University of Minnesota Extension based out of Mankato Regional Office. Forest farming is an intentional manipulation, integration, and intensive management of woodlands that capitalize on specific plant interactions to produce non-timber forest products. In this slide, you see pine straw in the southern part of the United States, also maple syrup, shiitake mushrooms, ginseng, and medicinals grown in the understory of woodlands. What is agroforestry? Actually, forest farming is one of the 5 practices of agroforestry, the intentional combining of agriculture and working trees to create sustainable farming systems. Forest farming benefits improve value and diversity of existing forest, offering diversified income and possibly increasing cash flow. Here you see timber cut for firewood, also a morel mushroom, maple syrup again, and pine cones. So in this slide, we're looking at the methods of integrating forest farming at the lower left, beginning with wildcrafting, basically a wild harvest, moving into the forest tending, which is more management, and then wild simulated, and then forest gardening, which is more cultivated woodlands. So as you go up from wild harvesting or wild crafting, obviously it increases in inputs and potentially forest manipulation. Obviously you're manipulating more of the woodland ground and upper story too. So here's the forest tending management of managing of wild leeks, wild populations. Wild simulated, certainly you can actually plant or seed into the native area, but you're not doing much else except for maybe thinning the understory of the trees and so forth, and letting a little more sunshine through. Another slide of wild simulated environment under the timber understory. What are non-timber forest products? Include a lot of different things. Obviously anything that's non-timber, forestry, floral, greeneries, wild edibles, medicinals, landscaping products, firewood certainly is included in this category, crafts, and a lot of other edibles as well. Native woodland harvest. Know what you're harvesting and when. Identify woodland in the site, public or private. Getting permission if you don't own the land. Certainly these are opportunities to go onto state and federal lands, but you do need a permit and permission to do so. And it's not for, in Minnesota, it's not for sale. You're actually just harvesting for yourself. So keep a note of that. Sustainably harvest these products as well. What to harvest or grow, economic value. You want to look at maybe what's out there if you want to sell it on farmers markets or some type of other marketable system. Certainly you want to have a product that's sellable. So you want to look at those opportunities of what other items of non-timber forest products you can grow in your understory of your woodland. Here's a simple calendar of some of the products and edibles that can be harvested from woodlands, and obviously this may differ by state and within the state, actually on seasonal differences by region. Potential woodland products include from woodlands or mushrooms to florals, greenery, fruits, herbs, vegetables, landscaping, crafts, botanicals, nuts, and pollen. Product categories include medicinals, food products, decoratives, handicrafts. A lot of these different categories can be sold on open markets or even farmers markets or even online. Medicinal, here's obviously not native to Minnesota picture, but similar type of understory medicinal plants can be grown in Minnesota. Medicinal uses, popular, high demand, high value, possible international markets, certainly U.S. markets. are available, and local markets really. Foods include fruits, syrups, mushrooms, nuts, vegetables, honeys, all kinds of edibles that can be derived from understory plants, berries, and mushrooms and other types of edibles. Food uses, people love and need food. Certainly they like the local sources of food, native plants, etc. Um, be aware of processing in your area. Certainly that may need to be approved by the Minnesota Department of Agriculture, but look into that if you need to process jams and jellies and foods like that. Here's hazelnuts, aronia berry, which is black choke berry, and then maple syrup in the picture. Floral decoratives, greenery, tips, berries, flowers, straw. Decoratives again, landscaping and florals from bittersweet, dogwoods, willows, pine cones to boughs. The Minnesota Department of Natural Resources has a great website on balsa bough harvesting, how to do it right and sustainably. So it's a great website if you're interested in this type of market and harvesting. Certainly go to that website and review that procedure for harvesting and marketing. Crafts, very popular, obviously made from all different types of non-timber forest products. Crafts can be from vines, branches, cones, foliage, bark, roots, burls, etc. Where to begin? Start with the timber proper management woodlands. If you have not done a timber stand improvement project on your property, you may want to look at that opportunity through a DNR forester, a consulting forester, SWCD, or extension staff can help you find a person to help you with that. And having a woodland stewardship plan developed for your acres of woodlands as well and forest is recommended. Many of the non-timber forest products need a little bit more sun, more space to grow. So you need to look at selecting crop trees. In this particular picture, CT is the crop trees. This particular website is managing oaks, and ideally crop trees should be 20 to 25 feet apart, but that may differ in the type of tree that you're identifying as a crop tree in your landscape. If you're interested in mushrooms, there's a lot of information on mushrooms through the Minnesota Mycological Society, and you may want to find that website, and you can actually belong to their club and receive monthly information through their newsletter. Another great resource for mushrooms is the Field Guide for Common Microfungi in Eastern Forest and their ecosystem functions through the U.S. Forest Service, and this is a Z link to that particular website and PDF. We do have a Minnesota Harvester Handbook developed by our University of Minnesota Extension staff in forestry. Topics range from the different seasons, the basic tips for social markets and policy, how to sustainably harvest these particular products from the woods, edible mushrooms, bark sticks, edible greens, holiday decorations, saps, and syrup as well. It can be available at the bookstore, $24.95, and the Z link is z.umn.edu/MHH. Another resource for more information on forest farming is the National Agroforestry Center. There on your website. That's based out of Lincoln, Nebraska. So the University of Nebraska Lincoln is the EDU call letters on the website. Our University of Minnesota Extension Agroforestry team has a website also. Just look for that under Environment and under Agroforestry on our website. University of Minnesota Extension website is extension.umn.edu. My name is Gary Wyatt. I'm based out of Mankato Regional Office. If you want more information on forest farming or any questions that I've presented during this presentation, please contact me at 507-389-6748, or my email address is Wyatt, WYATT, @umn.edu. Thank you.